This is nice. You want to play some Magic? What about you guys? Hello everybody, and welcome back. It has been a very long time.
Like 1,000 years.
It feels like 1,000 years. But we are back, and yeah, so we're going to do some Magic for you. Now, the thought occurred to me, like, we're going to be pretty rusty at this because it's been... How many months has it been? Like, 5 months?
Maybe? Not quite that long.
Not quite that long? Close, maybe 4. I don't know. But, yeah, so we're probably going to be quite a bit rusty, so I thought, what better way to start out than to just have like a giant tournament and have to play a bunch of decks against each other and have plenty of room for mistake making.
Indeed.
Yeah, it seems like the most logical thing to do once you haven't played Magic for a while. But yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna be having a tournament of some really fun decks. These are all pretty, like, I think this one, Blackburn, we've done before, but this is a cool new card for it. But other than that, I'm pretty sure all of these have never really been done before.
At least not on this channel.
Yeah, not on this channel. Perhaps on some other ones, but yeah. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So figure just for this video, we'll be going over the decks, and then starting tomorrow, this actual tournament will start for real, and it'll be going from Tuesday to Monday, which is Christmas Eve. So this is like our little Christmas present / closing out one of the weirdest years ever. Sort of thing for you guys. Let's go over the decks. So I'll start with what I'll be playing first. I call this deck Sleeping Beauty. So it's basically a +1/+1 counter deck based around the card Slumbering Dragon, which is extremely easy to actually get 5 +1/+1 counters on in this list. But yeah, and it will be facing off against
Blackburn, the good old burn deck, but it's a whole bunch of black life gain or life drain cards instead. Mm-hmm. And of course it tops ends with Phyrexian Obliterator because
it's good enough.
Good enough.
It's usually good enough.
And then things like Bloodghast, which is just a recurrent threat. Yeah. Bob, of course, since we're gaining a bunch of life, drawing a bunch of cards is always good. So
then next up I have I call this one just Tempered Tokens. It's basically a Tempered Steel, where's that other one? Intangible Virtue style artifact token deck that uses like SRAM's expertise and Servo Exhibition and yada yada. But mainly you just want to land a Tempered Steel and turn your guys sideways. That's all there really is to it.
Seems reasonable enough.
Yeah.
And it will be facing off against a blue, it's an Izzet Mox Amber list. So it's trying to cast a bunch of spells in one turn. Mox Amber, of course, can count. And then Arayo, so Soratami Ascendant, which when it flips counters the first spell played by an opponent on each turn.
Which is not fun.
just a great way to slow them down. But then includes other fun legendaries. Of course, it gets to play the fun lands, like the one that gives all legendaries first strike.
For 1 mana?
For 1 mana. Or untapping things. Essentially 2, because you have to tap a land too.
Yeah.
Untapping your thing's probably never really going to happen, but then you have like the top end of the Hazaret. We have Akira, just because it also makes our creatures hard to hit. Jorien can draw us extra cards, which helps if we're trying to cast 4 cards. Sig, because I needed more legendaries. Yeah. He was interesting enough, because he can kind of draw us cards, especially when one of the spells we have in the deck is Lightning Bolt. It adds tax draw card onto Lightning Bolt. Carry Zev is fun, and then Tetsuko, because she makes most of the things unblockable, especially like both Carry Zev and the monkey.
Yeah, which allows you to activate the other legendary Sig, because you just need to deal 3 damage.
Which is enough damage.
Yeah, and that makes it unblockable.
Of course, getting Artificer's Assistant, which we only have the 1 copy of an artifact, but it also works on legendary, so hey.
Yeah.
And then a whole bunch of 1-drops that draws cards like Serum Vision's Opt and Sleight of Hand.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Then next up for me, I've been talking about this deck a lot. I am super excited to play this deck. I've been playing this online, like grinding away with this. It's so much fun. It's a Seance deck that has a lot of fun little cards that have massive enters the battlefield abilities, but other than that, it doesn't really matter if they go away. So like Thragtusk, gaining 5 life and leaving a 3/3 around and being able to do that on both turns, pretty sweet. Satyr Wayfinder helps you fill your graveyard. Doesn't really help you find your Seance, but it does help you fill your graveyard. Got some birds and stuff. Firemaw Kavu's a fun one. It's basically like a double removal spell when it enters and when it leaves. So, and the best card in the deck, by far, Realm Razor. You reanimate this on your opponent's upkeep, steal all the lands, and then it goes away on the end step, and we all get the lands back. So basically, it's like a Naya-colored Time Walk. It's really strange.
At least, when you combine it with Seance, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. And Tristani Summoner being your big beefy thing, because turns out that putting, 9 power into play? Pretty good.
Yeah, you lose the 1/1, but you know what? That's not the problem.
Mm-hmm. And the best part too is if you somehow manage to get to block with them or like get them killed before Seance exiles them, just do it again.
Yeah, Seance doesn't have the wording that a whole bunch of other reanimation spells do, where if it would leave the battlefield, exile it instead.
Yeah, it just says exile it at the beginning of the next end step. If it's not legal anymore, then that doesn't matter. Yeah, and of course, Commune with the Gods. This is the one I was looking for. Pretty bread and butter in this deck. It lets you fill your graveyard with creatures and find your Seance off the top. So basically, you're just trying to use like Faithless Looting and Communes to fill your graveyard, cast a Seance, profit.
And that will be facing off against a list I found on MTG Goldfish. It utilizes Precognition Field, Aetherflux Reservoir, and Noxious Revival. So if you have 2 copies of Noxious Revival and a Precognition Field, which lets you play the top card of your library if it's an instant sorcery, and you combine that with an Aetherflux Reservoir, you just loop the 2 Noxious Revivals by paying life, and Aetherflux Reservoir eventually gets big enough that you just gain stupid amounts of life, and then you shoot them with it.
Yeah,
and
really fun combo.
It's pretty entertaining. So it's a whole bunch of ways to get up to 4 mana, because we need 2 4-drops. And then also dig, because we need multiple copies of Noxious Revival. And yeah, and then it just kills the opponent out of nowhere. With a very, very interesting combo.
Yeah, I love it. And then the deck that I'm second most excited to play is this awesome Inspired list that has been inspired by the Vehicles Pauper list that we played a long time ago.
The red-black, yeah.
The red-black one. It uses some of the same win cons, like Night Market Lookout and the other one, wherever it is. So Servant of Tiamat and Night Market Lookout are your principal win conditions, but allowing more than just commons gives you access to stuff like Painseer, which is basically a bob that in this deck you can control when it goes off, which is pretty sweet. So like if you're about to die, just don't use it. Disciple of Deceit, probably the best card in this deck because there's a lot of 2s in this deck, and this can pretty much find you anything you need at the point in the game as long as it lives.
Including the probably most important card.
Yes, Aura of Domination, which essentially says pay 1 mana, activate an inspired ability.
Yes, you tap an untapped creature you control to untap the enchanted creature. Of course, you can just use the enchanted creature as the cost to tap it.
So basically, if I have like 6 mana up, I can just activate this ability 6 times and drain my opponent for 6. It's pretty sweet.
Reasonable enough.
Yeah, and this deck also plays pretty well the same as the Vehicles list in Pauper, in that every time I play this deck, I usually get around like 4 or 5 life, and then I stabilize from there, and then my opponent just can't really do anything because I'm just gaining like 6 a turn and they're losing 6 a turn. But yeah, it's definitely one of those decks that if it survives, it'll probably win, but if it's facing something fast enough, it probably won't. But excited either way. And this one.
The one I'm most...
Yeah, me too.
Is I had to figure out how to build around Thousand Year Storm because giving every card Storm just sounded amazing. But it's a 6 mana enchantment, so we had to figure out how to cast that and then still have cards in hand afterwards to storm off. And I came up with land enchantments.
Token Sprawl, Overgrowth.
Yes. And Twiddle effects.
Yeah! So basically you just build a giant land, untap it a bunch of times.
Untap it a bunch of times, yeah. So like you have cards like Twitch, which also draws a card, which is helpful once we have the Thousand Year Storm. Yeah. Dream's Grip, which is basically Twiddle, because it's untap target permanent or tap target permanent with Entwine, but we're never really entwining it, we only want to untap things. Manamorphose, which is just amazing with Thousand Year Storm.
It's free.
It's free.
Adds mana.
And it draws us cards, but if it's not the first spell cast, then you're gaining extra mana. Of course, the win condition being like Banefire, because we can make multiple copies of it.
Yeah, so. And tons of mana.
Of course, Past in Flames and Gifts Ungiven is our principal way of finding it, because we can just go find Banefire, Past in Flames, and a few other instant sorceries, and they either give us what we want or we just flash it back
anyway.
with Past in Flames.
Basically,
they don't
it
really
doesn't
get
matter.
a choice.
Usually when your opponent casts a Gifts on you, you're just dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really excited to see that one going off. That's really looking forward to that. So yeah, without any further ado, we are going to start filming these now. And as I said, they will be coming out for the next 7 days, so you're gonna have a lot of content this week. But we're gonna start out right here with Sleeping Beauty versus Blackburn. So we will see you back tomorrow for that.